Good morning to all. Our today's topic is electrical machines and their maintenance. The overview of today's discussion is, first of all, we will discuss what is machine, how it operates as a motor or generator. Then basic classification of machines, induction machines, synchronous machines and DC machines. Then overhauling of motors. It is a preventive maintenance. Then troubleshooting of electrical motors when motor fails to function. Then two types of failure, that is mechanical failure and electrical failure. So what is motor? In simple terms, the machine which converts electrical energy to mechanical energy is termed as motor, whereas the machine which converts mechanical energy to electrical energy is known as generator. To understand the working of machine, we have to consider three parameters. First one is stator energy, second is rotor energy, and last one is mechanical energy. Out of these three parameters, two we have to give as input and one we will get as an output. In case of motors, stator is supplied by an electrical energy. Due to this, the magnetic field get induced in the rotor, which is also considered as an input because it get induced due to the input which we have given to the stator, and then mechanical energy is taken as an output. In case of generator, electrical energy is given to stator winding to form magnetic field, and then mechanical energy in the form of a rotation is given to the rotor. Then electrical power is taken as an output from rotor through carbon brushes. Here you can note that electrical energy is given as an input and we are taking electrical energy as an output. Here to note that the electrical energy which we are giving at an input is only 1% of the output taken from the rotor. This is diagram for any machine. This is outer body of the machine, which is also known as yoke. This is stationary part of the machine. This is rotating part. This is the stator core on which stator winding is there, and this is the rotor. Here in the diagram you can see it is a squirrel cage rotor. There are two types of rotor for these machines. One is the wound rotor, other one is squirrel cage, the details of which we will discuss later on. These are ball bearings on which rotor rotates. So this is rotating part, this is stationary part, this is lifting eye to lift the motor, this is wiring box to give input to the motor. This is cooling fan which is mounted on the shaft for cooling of the motor. This is fan cover. So first classification is induction machines. They are singly excited machines, that is they require only one alternating voltage source. They work on the principle of electromagnetic induction. That is Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction, which states that whenever the amount of magnetic flux linked with the circuit changes, an EMF get induced in the circuit. So we have seen in the diagram there were two parts of the motor. Basically there were two parts. One is stator, other one is rotor. So there are two windings on them. One is field winding, which is on the stator. Other one is armature winding, which is on the rotor. If the armature winding is in the form of winding, means they are winding, it means it is a wound rotor. If it is in the form of aluminium bars, then it is known as squirrel cage, which we have seen in the diagram. It is a squirrel cage rotor. Here you can see there are no winding on the rotor. It means it is a squirrel cage rotor. Then the stator winding is energized and magnetic field is set up in it. So by the principle of mutual induction, rotor winding receives energy and EMF get induced in it, which sets its own magnetic field. Now stator and rotor magnetic field interacts and torque generates. As rotor is mounted on ball bearing, rotor starts rotating due to this torque. Here you can note that the magnetic field which is set up in the rotor opposes the stator's field. This is in accordance with the Lenz's law, which states that effect always opposes the cause. These are type of rotor. This is squirrel cage rotor, this is wound rotor. These rotor types are for induction machines. This is wound rotor in which windings are there. These rotors are used where we are likely to add external circuit. These are slip rings through which external circuit can be added to the rotor of the motor. In squirrel cage rotor, there is no possibility to add any external circuit. These are short circuited with the help of end rings, so there is no possibility to add any external circuit. In case of wound rotor, their maintenance is high as compared to squirrel cage rotors. Then is synchronous machines. They are doubly excited machines. In case of motor, at input we are giving DC supply to field winding and AC supply is given to armature winding, and at output we are getting mechanical energy from the rotor. Here you can see DC and AC supply both are given at the input. So both AC and DC magnetic fields interact in such a way that they produce torque. As motor is mounted on ball bearings, so it starts rotating. So this is the case with motor. With generator, we know from generator we have to give mechanical input and we are getting electrical energy as an output. So at input we are giving mechanical energy to rotor and DC supply to the field winding, and at output we are getting AC from the armature winding. As the field winding energizes with DC, it generates magnetic lines of force. Due to the rotation of rotor, which we are giving through prime mover, the rotor winding cuts the magnetic lines of force and EMF get induced in the armature winding, and it takes as an output. This is also in accordance with Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. Here one thing to note. In small machines, in small synchronous machines, armature winding is on rotor and field winding is on stator, whereas the reverse is followed for large machines. That is, armature winding is on stator and field winding is on rotor. Now, why we do this? Armature winding, if we, for large machines, if armature winding we put on rotor, it is very difficult to provide that high insulation at rotor, but it is possible to provide that high insulation at stator. Moreover, large amount of energy is generated in armature winding. So it is not possible to collect this energy through carbon brushes if we put it on rotor. So it is possible to collect that high energy from the stator. Moreover, due to high amount of energy in armature winding, large amount of cooling is required. It is also not possible at rotor to provide such high level cooling, but it is possible in case if we mount armature winding on the stator. So these are the types of rotor for synchronous machines. One is the salient pole rotor, other one is cylindrical rotor. If the prime mover which we are using, prime mover in case of hydropower plants it's water, in case of steam power plant it is steam. If the prime mover has high speed, then cylindrical rotors are preferred. If the prime mover has low speed, then the salient pole rotors are preferable. So they are low speed rotors. They are basically designed for hydropower plants. 24 poles or above are in these. So it is a cylindrical rotor. So the speed is calculated with the help of a formula, that is the 120 F by P, where F is the frequency which is fixed 50 Hz for Indian standards, and number of poles, it is according to the design of the rotor. So cylindrical rotors are high speed rotors. Then are DC machines. They are also doubly excited machines. Stator of motor, on which field winding is there, is excited with DC supply through solid connections. Rotor winding, that is armature winding, is excited with DC supply through carbon brushes. So double excitation we are giving. And commutator, which is mounted on rotor to convert DC supply of rotor into AC. Here we can note that commutator which is mounted on the rotor, it acts as an inverter in case of motor and as a rectifier in case of generator. Both the stator and rotor windings produces the magnetic field, opposes in such a way to produce magnetic field. Overhauling of motors. It is a preventive maintenance which is done to eliminate the loss of production. Increases the reliability and to prevent the failure of motor, and recording the information of motor health. Means they are taken before the motor stops working. It is a preventive maintenance. It involves partial or complete disassembly of the motor, inspection to detect damaged or defective parts, repair and replacement of such parts, reassembly, testing and trial of the motor. Then is the troubleshooting. If the motor fails to function properly, we have to do troubleshooting on the motor, that what kind of fault is in it. Firstly, the motor is isolated completely from the electrical supply. Then the necessary tools are gathered for the troubleshooting of electric motor. For example, we need plier, screwdriver, voltmeter, continuity meter, spanner, hammer, earth tester and series lamp tester. The failure of motor is either mechanically or it could be electrically also. So this is the motor failure. This is a brief diagram to explain motor failure. 30% of failures are due to the overloading of the motor. Due to the overloading, the winding may get damaged. So 30% of the failure of motor are due to the overloading. Then is the rotor failure. Shaft or fan break are the reasons for this. Then is the bearing failure. Bearings can get fail. Then is the old age, means obsolete motors. They can also fail. There are 10% chances for these. Then if the motor is working in the conditions, in the environment where there are contaminants, then also there are 19% chances that the motor fails. Then is the single phasing. If the motor is 3-phase but one phase fails to supply the motor, then there is a single phasing and there could be a short circuit also. Then these are miscellaneous. This is the misalignment of the shaft. These are 3 different types of misalignments they have shown. This is the offset, means one shaft is for a motor and other one is for load. There can be misalignment between the two. This is the offset position. This one is the angle misalignment and this is pigeon toe. So some of the mechanical failures are the common mechanical motor problems. So the air gap between the stator and rotor, it should be checked and it should be uniform. Then second one is the defective bearing or coupling. So these are defective bearing or couplings. To avoid any defect in the bearing or coupling, lubrication of bearings is done to reduce friction. The replacement of bearings should be done at recommended intervals of time. In case of DC motors, the damage to the carbon brushes due to friction, the damaged carbon brushes should be replaced at recommended intervals of time. Then the next is the belt tension and pulley alignment should be checked and corrected if required. Then the bolts of foundation can sometimes be loosened. The motor vibrates. Due to this loosening, the motor starts vibrating, which lead to the disturbance in the alignment of the motor. And it may result to some more serious problems in future. Then are the electrical failures. It includes the open winding, short circuit between windings and between winding to winding or between winding to earth. Defective starting components, that is starter, capacitor, prevents the motor to start. They can be replaced. In case of single phasing of motor, as we discussed earlier, voltage should be checked with the help of a voltmeter at the terminals of the motor. The winding should be varnished from time to time to maintain high insulation. To avoid short circuiting, it should be checked by insulation tester. So this is the faulty motor. Thank you.